Everything is so fast, so sensational. It's all flashy, all eye-catchy, all consumable. How many videos have you seen on the internet of people telling you the secret to learning languages rapidly? The secret to having it all in the shortest amount of time and with the least effort. Language challenges are on the rise. It's like a race for who will know the most languages in the shortest amount of time. To that, I say stop. Take a step back and realize that language learning ain't it. It ain't that. What you see in all of those videos about how people learn X or Y language in a crazy short amount of time, this is just the aspect that you can market, that will bring traffic to the creators because it's appealing, it's attractive, it seems like it's at reach. I don't blame any of them for doing that because most of them have a YouTube career, and if they want to stick around, they need to make content that gets them views, that makes people click. No, instead I want to raise the awareness of the public watching those videos. I want to put out there to the world another point of view about language learning. One that goes counterstream, that can seem odd, and that challenges how the world views language learning. And my message was not influenced by any sponsor or by any YouTube career. Those are just my thoughts, raw and free of any constraint. I understand that the concept of speed and efficiency is extremely appealing. The idea that it's not going to take too long and that you're guaranteed to get some concrete results is soothing. You're not taking too much risk. At least it seems like it. I mean, it's a norm. Anyone would tell you that you need to fix goals and plan where you want to be, and that you don't need much time to learn. You might feel like it's a shame to be stuck on a plateau because you see everyone learning languages super quickly. But what if all of this was wrong? What if all of this was actually the cause of why people quit and get discouraged? What if it was the poison, not the cure? What if language learning had nothing to do with performance, efficiency, or with academic stuff? Think about it for a second. Why would you want to rush anything and set a time goal for fluency? Because that brings up a lot of other questions. What would you define as fluency in a foreign language? Will you keep that same definition all along? How did you define how long you want it to take? What happens after the deadline? What if you're behind schedule? Are you just aiming for an okay, superficial level? Or do you want to understand the intrinsic nature of the language, of its roots, and of the cultures and subcultures that surround it? I only see one reason why you would want to do that, and that would be to get the approval of others and to cope with the thought of failing. It's like a parachute. I'm jumping into the unknown, but at least I know that I have a parachute that I will deploy before hitting the ground and realizing that it's not that easy. Adapting to a culture's language that has been around for centuries isn't as straightforward as I thought it would be. But why jump in the first place? Why not stay on Earth and take on a journey without knowing what's going to happen? How hard it would be, or even where one would end up? I think that this is the brave thing to do, and this is ultimately saving you from a lot of pain and allowing you to stay open-minded even though it's tough and it might not make sense. Now, I want to give you a warning of why picking up those 3 months to fluency challenges might not be a good idea. Okay, so you're telling yourself that it could be cool to learn a new language, that it would be cool and useful, maybe for your resume or for your career. But it's scary, because no language is easy and you know that deep down. But high-key, you want to make the process easier and more efficient. So You decide to pick a 3 months of fluency challenge. You get that instant rush of motivation and you feel like you can do it in even less time, that it's going to be a breeze, and you can already picture yourself having a conversation in that language. So you start. You might buy books, watch videos of people who have done it before, maybe take lessons, and you pressure yourself to fit as much as possible into your schedule. You make sacrifices, but something comes up deep down. You know that you don't understand as much as you should. By now, you should be at this point in the language, but you're still stuck at base camp. You get a rush of pressure and you think that it's because you're not studying enough, not doing enough, and that you need to do more. But the trend won't change. It just doesn't work. Have all of these YouTubers that did it lied to you? Can you even do such a thing? Well, yes and no. They haven't straight up lied to you. They really did progress in the language that they were learning, but they rearranged the truth. They set things up to save face, because I can tell you now that none of them have achieved their goal in the amount of time that they gave themselves. But they need to do that video. They need to keep views getting in, and they have a sponsor to satisfy. So there's a bit of editing through the parts where they stuttered or didn't find their words. Of course, the videos are in some controlled environment, and they don't show you how they would do if they were to meet a native that would think that they're native too. And what about you in all of that? Where are you at after your 3 months of language challenge? You might be saying a few sentences. You might understand relatively slow speech, if you're lucky and depending on how much exposure you've had. But in most cases, you will be far, far from fluency. What now? Do you go on another challenge from okay speaker to convincing speaker in a year? No, that doesn't sound very appealing, does it? It feels like a pale copy of the original challenge, only it doesn't grab anyone's attention. It's not starting from zero. There is no infinite growth concept here, just marginal growth. No one would click on that video if it were to be one. And 1 year, that's a long amount of time. But you realize that 3 months go by in a blink of an eye, in a snap of a finger. You need so much more time than that. If you're resilient, you might accept your failure, stop telling people about your challenge and bragging about it, and recenter. Try a different approach and arm yourself with patience. But if you did this challenge in the first place, wasn't it to get the attention and the validation of your peers? No? Not even a little bit? I think that it has something to do with that the idea of telling people that you learned this language in such a short amount of time was more of a driver in the challenge than the thought of understanding a new culture and experiencing another part of the world, another realm of reality. So you might stop the challenge, forget about it, forget about the language, and maybe you will try again later with another language because it needs to be from zero to really be interesting. This after getting a rush of motivation, watching yet another video of some polyglot learning a language in a month. But hey, here is another side of things, another parcel of the truth. If you had succeeded, and if you had learned this language in the given amount of time, you could have shocked natives, and you could have impressed girls or people around you. How long would have this lasted? A few months? A few weeks maybe? What happens after that? Will you still need the language if it's not impressive anymore? Because after all, you've been learning the language for a year or more. Anyone can get fluent in that time. There's nothing crazy about that. No, you won't need it if so was your goal behind learning it in the first place. You'll get on another language learning challenge without even understanding the full depth and uniqueness of that first language, without being able to have deep conversation, and without having connected to a below the surface level with the people that speak it. You probably have picked that first language because a lot of people spoke it, as you were told that the more language was spoken, the better it was. So, slim are the chances that you understand the complexity and the diversity of the language you speak. You would just be comfortable with the grammar and the pronunciation, but what you would say wouldn't have the required sensibility that knowing the culture would have brought you. So, here you go again, going on another challenge, learning superficially another well-spoken language, to get that short external validation moment. Even if you're not telling anyone and just doing it for yourself, just because you want to experience the culture and exchange with the people of that language, you still don't need to do it quickly. There's no reason to. Pressuring yourself and trying to rush things won't help you to do it faster. It's not because you will do more, you will spend more time learning and have more lessons that you will succeed right away. And it can actually have the opposite effect and make you want to quit because of the unbearable schedule that you're following. Even if you plan to travel to a destination where the language is spoken, you don't need to rush it because you're going there to learn. So why try to complete an intense program before going there if you're going there to immerse yourself and learn anyway? And if you don't know when you're going there, it doesn't matter if it's in a month or in a year. It's still going to be there. Things can change a bit, but it won't disappear. It will still be there. So focus on enjoying your time and discovering as much as possible about the language and its culture. Go for the long run. Accept that it won't be instant, that it will be graduate, and keep in mind that you will fail, that it will be uncomfortable at some point. But you'll see that you will speak the language. You don't know when, but you will. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Through this narrative, I want you to understand what I think are the core values of language learning. Beyond sensationalism, beyond what's popular, what's thought to work or to be right. I want to say that language learning is more of an attitude than it is of a method. It's more of an experience than it is of a skill. And it's more of a direction than it is of a destination. If you understand this, you won't need any external driving factors to get moving toward fluency and to keep heading there. Because fluency is behind the horizon, but the horizon is only the limit of what you can see and not a destination in and of itself. Thank you for listening. This was Luca. À bientôt.